Namaste, Dhanyavad Pranam. All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 8, Text 5. Sadhayitya vajata satro svam rajam kitabar hrutam gatayit vasato rajna kachasparsha chatayusa. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhisthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. Purport. In the glorious days, or before the advent of the age of Kali, the brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. The protection of the brahmanas maintains the institution of varna and ashram, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. Two, the protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, i.e., milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain, for understanding higher aims of life. 3. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. 4. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadana Samskar, the beginning of pure life. 5. The protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for a better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the above-mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden, because even by insulting them one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita it is stated that when the women become unchaste, for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Shankara. To insult a chaste woman means to insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. There are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Text 6. Yajayit vasmades chaitam tribir utama kalpakai tadyasa pavanam dikshu satamanyur ivatanot. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Asvamedha Yagyas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by the Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Purport. This is something like the preface to the performances of Asvamedha Yagya by Maharaj Yudhisthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhisthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhisthira in opulence, yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhisthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhisthira was a pure devotee of the Lord. and by his grace only was King Yudhisthira on the level of the King of Heaven, even though he performed only 3 yagyas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the all great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun, but due to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are cent% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Text 7. Amantriya panduputramscha sanyedhohava samyuta dvaipayanadibir viprai pujitai prati pujita. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord also reciprocated greetings. Purport. Apparently Lord Sri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the Brahmins, but the Brahmanas present here, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be the personality of Godhead, and therefore they worshipped him. The Lord reciprocated the greetings just to honor the social order that a Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Although Lord Sri Krishna was always offered the respects due to the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters, the Lord never deviated from the customary usages between the 4 orders of society. The Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future. Text 8. Gauntum krita matir brahman dvara kamratam astita upale be bidhavantim utaram bhaya vivalam. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. Purport. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord, and therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Text 9. Uttara uvacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvara bhayam pasye yatra mrityu parasparam. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. Purport. This material world is the world of duality, in contrast with the oneness of the absolute realm. The world of duality is composed of matter and spirit, whereas the absolute world is complete spirit without any tinge of the material qualities. In the dual world, everyone is falsely trying to become the master of the world, whereas in the absolute world, the Lord is the absolute Lord, and all others are his absolute servitors. In the world of duality, everyone is envious of all others, and death is inevitable due to the dual existence of matter and spirit. The Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. One cannot save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 10. Abhidravati mam isha saras taptas yaso vibo kamam dahu tu mam nata mame garbo nipatyatam. O my Lord, you are all-powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming toward me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. Purport. This incident took place after the death of Abhimanyu, the husband of Uttara. Abhimanyu's widow, Uttara, should have followed the path of her husband, but because she was pregnant and Maharaj Pariksit, a great devotee of the Lord, was lying in embryo, she was responsible for his protection. The mother of a child has a great responsibility in giving all protection to the child, and therefore Uttara was not ashamed to express this frankly before Lord Krishna. Uttara was the daughter of a great king, the wife of a great hero, and the student of a great devotee. And later she was the mother of a good king also. She was very fortunate in every respect. Text 11. Sutta uvacha upadharya vachastasya Bhagavan bhakta vatsala apandhavam idam kartum drauner astram ubhudhyata. Sutta Goswami said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Sri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Asvatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. Purport. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined toward his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family was a family of devotees, and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule the world. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhana and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Therefore he also wanted to protect Maharaj Pariksit, who is lying in embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. Text 12. Tarhyevata muni shrestha Pandava panchasayakan Atmano bhimukhan diptan Alakshastran yupadadhu. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Sanaka. Seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding toward them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. The Brahmastras, this is the purport. The Brahmastras are finer than nuclear weapons. Asvatthama discharged the Brahmastra simply to kill the Pandavas, namely the 5 brothers headed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, and their only grandson, who was lying within the womb of Uttara. Therefore, the Brahmastra, more effective and finer than the atomic weapons, was not as blind as the atomic bombs. When the atomic bombs are discharged, they do not discriminate between the target and others. Mainly, the atomic bombs do harm to the innocent because there is no control. The Brahmastra is not like that. It marks out the target and proceeds accordingly without harming the innocent. Text 13. Vyasanam vikshatat tesham anhanya vishayatam manam sudarshanena svatstrena svanam raksham vyadhad vibhu. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them. Purport. The Brahmastra, the supreme weapon released by Asvatthama, was something similar to the nuclear weapon, but with more radiation and heat. This Brahmastra is the product of a more subtle science, being the product of a finer sound, a mantra, recorded in the Vedas. Another advantage of this weapon is that it is not blind like the nuclear weapon, because it can be directed only to the target and nothing else. Asvatthama released the weapon just to finish all the male members of Pandu's family. Therefore, in one sense, it was more dangerous than the atomic bombs, because it could penetrate even the most protected place and would never miss the target. Knowing all this, Lord Sri Krishna at once took up his personal weapon to protect his devotees, who did not know anyone other than Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has clearly promised that his devotees are never to be vanquished. and he behaves accordingly to the quality or degree of the devotional service rendered by the devotees. Here, the word Ananya Vishayitatmanam is significant. The Pandavas were 100% dependent on the protection of the Lord, although they were all great warriors themselves. But the Lord neglects even the greatest warriors and also vanquishes them in no time. When the Lord saw that there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Asvatthama, he took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. Although the battle of Kurukshetra was almost finished, still, according to his vow, he should not have taken up his own weapon. But the emergency was more important than the vow. He is better known as Bhaktavatsala, or the lover of his devotee, and thus he preferred to continue as Bhaktavatsala than to be a worldly moralist who never breaks his solemn vow. Thus ends our reading for today. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Arupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the worldwide devotees. Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Ekachakra Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Nrsimhapali Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jai Gira Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Jai Sham Kun Radha Kun Ki Jai. Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Nitai Gora Hari Hari Bol. Tandavat Pranam.